Hello, Marcus Garrett here, author of Debt Free or Die Trying: How I Buried Myself $30,000 in Debt and Dug My Way Out. Today, I want to talk a little bit about cost of living in America. With COVID-19, a lot of people will be volunteer or voluntold to work from home or work from anywhere. This might also open up the opportunity to work around the United States. So I wanted to, if you've ever visited the United States, lived in the United States, or driven around the United States, you might have noticed that a dollar doesn't stretch the same in these different states. For example, if you're not from the United States, some states have state tax while others do not. Home cost is a big factor from state to state. It might be significantly different, and these calculators can help you adjust your salary for those different cost of living in these different states. Whenever I'm considering cost of living, I like to consult three calculators. So there's a few times where I'll talk about cost of living. Let's say I'm looking at a job for relocation. This is actually the most frequent time. I've moved 4 times. Each state had its own considerations that I had to take into place as we talk about cost of living. Some states are just more expensive, so there's different factors that you want to keep in mind as you're negotiating your salary or you're thinking about relocating to another state. Or maybe you just want to visit and you're wondering roughly how much this state or city will cost to stay or live in or even to visit. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. When I'm doing that, I typically look at 3 different calculators. I'll talk about those in a second. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, a little bit of background about the U.S. The median household salary, according to the United States Census Bureau, is about $62,000 as of 2019. The median salary for an individual is around $34,000, which makes sense because that's about half of $60,000. Again, those 2 sources are the U.S. Census Bureau. However, what's the cost of living? What's the cost of living in Texas, where I'm from, California, New York, Florida? You can actually answer those questions, and it's through a cost of living calculator. There's typically 3 cost of living calculators that I look at. There may be an infinite amount out there, but this video would be forever long. So we're going to look at my 3 favorites. From left to right, that is salary.com, bankrate.com, and cnnmoney.com. Each of these have a free, another benefit, free cost of living calculator that you can all use. And we're going to walk through those real quickly. Before we get to the calculators, I thought it'd be helpful to talk about what makes one better than the other. So a few comparison factors that I came up with is ease of use, how easy is it to use, usefulness of the information that it gives you, and then just some pros and cons about these 3 calculators, and then I'm actually going to choose a winner for you. Let's hop over to a few different calculators. I've actually pre-populated these. So if you go to salary.com and visit their cost of living calculator, salary.com is a great resource for, as you might imagine, negotiating your salary and generally finding out information about your salary. The cities that I used is, I'm an auditor, so with cost of living at salary.com, they'll actually ask you to also plug in your current job title, your current salary, present location, and where you want to work in the future. Like I said, I pre-populated this information. I used Austin, Texas. And if I wanted to move to New York, specifically the Manhattan area, for those of you from New York, I use 10013, if that means anything to you as far as zip codes. And so here's the information that salary.com gives you. With a salary of $50,000, how much more or less will it take you to live in your new city? And then you scroll down, it lets me know that there's a 98% cost of living change to go from Austin to New York. Yet I'd probably only be looking at a 23% salary change. So a little bit of math here. I needed to make up a difference of about 70%. As you see here, my cost of living goes up, but the difference is that I have less disposable income. So as you can see, salary.com is warning me, think carefully. They are saying, looks like this move could have a negative net change on your disposable income. Basically, they're saying if you go to New York from Austin and you don't get a significant salary increase, you're going to lose a lot of money, at least $37,000. And then there's some other factors that it goes into. Each calculator kind of has its own unique information. They'll break down current location, new location, and effectively cost of living. That's salary.com. You can check it out. As usual, everything that you need from this video is in the video description. Well, let's revisit the comparison factors that I thought would be of interest is ease of use, usefulness of information, general pros and cons, and my winner, my choice. If you had to choose one, I'd go with bankrate.com As they say here, it's comprehensive, it's objective, it's free. It'll give you all the information you need. You fill out 2 fields and Bankrate.com will tell you the cost of living. As you saw there live, I had a little bit of issue with, that's because I'm from Austin, a little bit of issue of the housing costs that they have for Austin versus New York. But I also live in Austin and I have friends in New York. I know how expensive it is. Maybe this will better align with your experience. Go check it out. When in doubt, I actually like to use all 3 calculators and then I'll, compare and contrast. And sometimes I'll do an average, and that's what I use for my salary negotiation. My winner, my choice, Bankrate.com. And the actual to get you to the calculators is Bankrate.com/calculators with an S. And that information will be in your video description.